Welcome enamel friends to a new and fun tutorial. Now, I'm not sure if you followed along to the previous tutorial where we made the very elaborate double-sided bangle bracelet. This particular tutorial is kind of a little bit less complicated, but it incorporates some of the same elements. So if you are a little newer to enameling, or you just kind of like to dip your toe in a little bit, I think this project might be for you. We are going to make, there's two options, two little shapes. A tiny little charm pendant, and it's going to be two-sided. And we're going to be enameling on a small piece of cast silver. So this might be a great introduction to enameling something entirely on both sides, not just with a kind of, there's gonna be a full decorative element on both sides. It's gonna be real tiny, but it will be there. So this is a great starter project for that. So without further ado, let's get started. A couple of things to keep in mind with this project. I have gone ahead and cast, you can either, this is gonna be, we're gonna do a little pansy, a double-sided pansy, and we have a slightly larger charm here, and then a really dainty charm here. And I am going to have a kit available that will include the small or the larger charm as part of the kit. So if you are interested in the kit, it will have all the colors you need, the cloisonné wires, the textured silver foil, and these fine silver castings. One, you get to choose. Please head over to Etsy and go ahead and purchase that. There are a limited, it's basically based on how many, I think I ordered 20 of each. So, I mean, that's plenty. That's a lot of kits, but when the kits are gone, the kits are gone. I'm not going to be casting any more of these. If for some reason you're not interested, or it's just not going to be something you're going to be doing, if you don't want to buy the kit, but you'd like to have this file, the 3D file, to send to your own caster of your choosing, I will actually have the 3D file. It is an STL file. It'll be available for free. A link will be in the description of this video. Or if you email me, I will just send it to you. Yeah, I tried, selling the other one on Etsy, and honestly, it was more of a hassle. So it's my free present for you. So either buy the kit and you can get one that's already been cast, or download these two little 3D files and send those to your caster and have them cast yourself. So I am going to, because the process for both of these will be exactly the same, I'm actually just going to do one of them. I'm gonna do this larger one just because it seems more fun. And so I have my little design. I think the black and white one might be the front. It doesn't matter. It's going to be two-sided, so I have the opportunity to do two different color palettes on this. And the other thing that I'm going to mention is I had these cast. These are fine silver rather than sterling silver. You can see, look at that interesting geometric reflection there. Kind of neat looking, camouflage almost. We're not going to use it, but anyway, the reason I did it was just because honestly, I just really like to enamel on fine silver, and these are just so small that you really don't need the strength. The only thing that you might need to be a little bit more cautious of, because these are fine silver, this cast element right here is going to be a little softer, so you have to be careful not to let it get squished or misformed when you're like doing all your grinding and polishing and otherwise working. You can always, if you want a stronger connection, I like to have the option of not having to worry about it. You could saw this off and solder something else on. It's all good. But if you do solder something else on, you would want to do sterling silver for the strength. But all in all, this is such a lightweight pendant, you're not gonna have any trouble with it. So you can see it's a casting. It's ready to go. Every casting will be a little bit different. And you've got this first little element here. This is called the sprue. This is from when they were casting it. They put a whole bunch of, I actually have no idea how to do casting. It is not something I've ever done. But we have to remove these sprues. So I'm actually just gonna be working on this one. And you can see we'll get to the colors that I have chosen later, but our first step is to remove this sprue. And so let's go ahead and do that first. Evercasting is going to be a little bit unique in the location of the sprue. This is a nice easy one because all we have to do is grind, or in this case, we're gonna use we're gonna do, I think I have a 3/0 blade on my saw, and I am just going to take as much as I can. You could totally just grind it off, but you'll kind of be grinding for a little while. So I'm going to carefully, remember we don't want to take off more than we need. I'm going to, there we go, a little bit up and down would probably be better. Hold on, good enough. It's pretty thick, so just go slow and steady wins the race. Hold on, I don't want it to fall on the floor. Then it'll be lost forever. I think I can just, there we go. We'll remove this, and remember we'll put that in our little scrap. And now we just have to sand this little area. Yeah, I did pretty good sawing this off, and now I'm just gonna clean this off. Remember, don't mess with that. So I'm going to use a traditional, this is one of my new files. I love these. And I'm just going to gently smooth this out. You could absolutely use a file of your choosing or your Fordham. It's all good. Many ways to get to the same. Careful. Let me go this way. Nice and smooth. Now, this is fine silver, so we do not need to depletion gild it. But you see how it has this kind of white film on there? I don't like to enamel over that just because, you know, I've had enamel kind of pop off. So I want to remove this just by giving it a quick sand. My big sanding mandrel isn't really gonna, especially that little one, it's gonna have a hard time fitting in here without kind of marring the edges. And so I am actually just going to use a little polishing disc. This is just, let me show you what these are. These little point assortments that I got from Rio, they are very handy. I've labeled them so I know, and I keep this with me because I can never remember. So I'm going to use the 120 grit just because I want to remove, let me get a little closer, the, oops, hold on, so sorry, let me just fuss a little bit. There we go. And I'm just going to clean up the inside. So you can see we have removed that layer of white, and there's still a little bit of texture, but we're going to be putting foil down so it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and do that on this side as well. Perfect. I'm not going to do anything else to the exterior because we'll be grinding and polishing that later. I mean, I guess if you don't like to look at, if it looks a little bit dirty, you could clean it up with this, but I don't really want to remove any of this top area because I want to maintain the depth on both sides. So that is that. Now, the final thing I'm going to do before I add any enamel on this is I'm going to turn my kiln on, because remember, this is a casting. I did not make this casting. I hired professionals and it looks like they did a great job, but sometimes with cast material, there could be a small imperfection in the casting. There could be an air bubble, and I want to know about that before I do anything. Also, I want to make sure that this is fine silver. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure this is fine silver, but if this thing turns black in the kiln, I'll know it is not fine silver. So I'm going to turn my kiln on to 1430 Fahrenheit, even 1450 Fahrenheit, 776 Celsius, 780 Celsius. And I'm going to put this in the kiln just blank like this for 2 to 3 minutes, just to see if there's any weirdness in this casting. Better to learn now. Not that you ever get your money back, but you just won't waste your time with it. So I've not had any trouble with these small castings. It's really in the larger size castings with the really thin sides that I've had some issues, and that is just kind of part and parcel. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll have a look at it, and then we can get enameling. And we'll just leave it in there for about 3 minutes. Now this is exactly what you want to see. See how it turned nice and white? It means it's absolutely fine silver. Thank goodness. And there are no problems. So we can go ahead and we're going to get our base coat of enamel, and I'm going to do it on both sides at the same time. So let me tell you what that looks like. We're going to be using, let me back up a little bit. There we go. My favorite base coat flux. This is Sawyer No. 3 Silver Flux. I've got a sifter, I've got this, and we're going to use, our Clearfire to get that to stick. Let me open it. Hold on, let me zoom out. There we go. Perfect. Let's get you out of the way temporarily. So we're going to put a little Clearfire right in there. Here we go. And it's probably not necessary, but a little drop of Dawn dishwashing detergent in there will make sure we get, there we go. Perfect. One tiny drop. That will just make sure we don't get any pilling. It will get a nice even coat. And I'm just looking for my brush. How about this one? And so I've got this. This has been pre-sifted. There we go. Beautiful. And both sides are the same. I'm going to just give this a little bit. We don't want it to be frothy. And I'm going to put a nice even coat of the Clearfire on the interior, just like that. And we're going to do one quick little sifting. Beautiful. We're going to let that dry for just a minute, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same coating on the back side. This has had a moment to dry, so I'm just going to flip it over and do the same thing on the back. Could you just fire that on one side and then do the other side? Absolutely. Especially with a small piece like this. What you want to avoid, you definitely need enamel on both sides, or you're going to be getting a little bit of warpage. So we're going to let this dry. One more little tiny nibble. There we go. We're gonna let this dry really well. And I have the kiln set to 1430 Fahrenheit, which is 776 Celsius. And we'll fire that for about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, depending on, you know, it's gonna go real fast. So, but we're gonna let this dry first. So we'll be right back. This is out of the kiln, and you can see we've got a nice coat of enamel on both sides. So the next thing that we need to do before we continue along with that is we need to make our wire design. And it's the same on the front and the back, so we're going to just make 2 of them. And the only thing that might be a slightly different thing about this wire is this depth right here, this interior depth on both sides is 1 millimeter. So you want to make sure that when you are making your cloisonne wire or ordering it, as the case may be, there's a video about how to make cloisonne wire. You basically just get round. I started with 26 gauge cloisonne fine silver round wire, and I ran it through my rolling mill so that it was just over 1 millimeter tall, which will be perfect. So I made a bunch of it. If you buy the kit, it comes with the wire ready to go. So we've got our wire, and we've got right here, I just have a bunch of round things. You'll need your tweezers, round nose pliers, and a nice flush cutter. And I'm gonna start by putting some double stick tape here just to hold the wires in place until we are ready. And I tend to do this even for simple things like this. It's just kind of good practice, best practice as it were. And I'm gonna make them both at the same time. Perfect. So I like to fold these edges down just so I don't have to, it's easy to pick up, so we can maneuver this. So we're just gonna set that off to the side, and I kind of look how long this piece of wire is. I'm just gonna break it into some short bits, just makes it easier to work with. There we go, we've got that. Probably don't even need that piece. And we'll start. Let's get a little bit closer. There we go. And I will have the printable for this will have a really nice, I'll do it in Illustrator, but I'm gonna eyeball it based on this. I think we can make that work. So you'll have a little bit more precise design to work from. And I'm going to actually start with a slightly larger. This is a slightly larger round nose plier. So we'll start with that centerpiece. I've made these, if you've done, I think we made some samples, reds and pinks and yellows with this pretty much the similar design. And so I'm gonna make 2 little circles to start off with. Just use the tip of your round nose pliers. That's what's so nice about this is it's not overly complicated. You're not gonna spend 100 hours on wires. You can focus on what's important. So we've got 2 little circles. Oh, I kind of messed them up. Let me just, you can use your fingers to just make those circles a little bit rounder. There we go. We'll pinch you guys closed. And then we'll stick you guys right in there, right in here. And then we're just gonna make a total of 6 of these kind of half circles. And remember our wire, because we have made it ourselves, it is very springy, which is good. It's not been, look how it holds its shape, really nice. If you buy wire, it might be a little bit softer, not work hardened. You'll just have to kind of work around it, but this is how I like it. So I'm gonna kind of grab something smaller. See how that's almost a perfect circle? But this is smaller than that because it's gonna spring up when you wrap it around. So let's do a test first and see how much it actually springs up, and then we'll adjust it. So I lifted it up and you can see how much it springs up. This is the size of the thing I wrapped it around. So I'm going to just eyeball that. That actually looks perfect. And I'm going to, honestly, I'm going to just make kind of a pile of 6 and then we'll kind of shape them. Just let them fall, because I won't go a little bit more. You know, maybe I'll wrap it around. Let's wrap it around because we'll pinch it then. 2, 3, always have an extra. 4, 5, 6. There we go. That should be giving it a good, see, I'm giving it a good, and just like that. And I'm going to carefully trim them all at once and just let them fall. There we go. Beautiful. Now we're going to shape these. We should have 1, 2, 3. Certainly. Did I lose a few? 4, 5. I'll make one more. There we go. So we've got 6 of these, and I'm just going to close them like a jump ring so they're nice. They will lay nice and flat. So I'll just take a moment and we'll just position them. Let's get this right in here. We want a little bit of room on the outside for our background color. So I'm going to trim it just a little bit. And if you want these to not be perfect circles, you could give them a little bit of wiggle, would be perfectly acceptable. But I think I'm just going to, there we go. I'm going to trim this just a little bit. There we go. That's good. So I have just a little bit of space around for the other little bits. And then I'm going to make, well, we'll get these, let's get making 2 sets. Trim just a little bit. Trim this a little bit. And then this one, get this just like that. Maybe trim you just a little bit more. There we go. That's good. So we've got our main shapes here, and then we're just going to do some little carrots for the center. So I'm going to just use my, honestly, yeah, I guess I'll just use my tweezers and make, see this little shape right here? We're going to do that. Make a little tiny carrot shape. And we're going to make 6 of those, 1 for each petal. Just like that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how nice it is to make multiples of things. And then we'll just get you guys going. And don't spend too much time fussing with this paper. Just get everything kind of in place. 5. There we are. And 6. Honestly, do we need, yeah, I do want to do the tiniest, I know it doesn't make any sense, but we'll do the tiniest little leaves on the corner just because I want that tiny little pop of green in there. So we're almost there. So to make these little leaves, we're going to probably, let's see if we can just do them one at a time. I'm going to use my round nose pliers. And so actually I like that. They'll be kind of round leaves, kind of teardrop shape. So I've made a circle, and then actually I'm just going to pinch them closed with my, let's see if that's going to fit. Oh, that'll be fine. Pinch them closed with my fingers. And then we just trim and give it just a little bit of a teardrop shape, I think is nice. Oops, just carefully. And then I'm gonna make a few more of those and we'll be ready to go. I've changed my mind about this little leaf. I think I want it to be a little bit pointier. See how I have it like that. Let me show you how I did it. It's super easy. We're just going to make another circle. I'm gonna make a little pile of circles, just like making jump rings. There we go. So we've got a little pile of circles and I'm just going to trim them just so they're easier to work with. And what I'm gonna do is, I think I can get 2 out of each. So I will cut them in half to make 2 half circles. And then use the tippy top of my tweezers and then 1 little finger on one side. Let's see if we can, come on, there we go. Here we are, there we go. 1 little side and then we pinch it just like that. I'll pinch all of them and then I'll trim them to fit. 2, oh, gotta trim. This is more than we need. There we go, we've made a little right in the center. So I use my finger. There we go. Wait, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think I need that one. And then I will trim them because these are too big. So I'm gonna use my finger, and trim them so they're about half that size. I just want to make sure that they fit, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all of these. Little guys. Probably end up trimming them even a little bit more, but this is a good start. They're very small. Lovely. There we go. Get that pressed in. So we have our wires are ready to go. We've got our base prepped with enamel on both sides. Well, we have enamel on both sides of this sweet little charm, and we have our wires done. It's all very exciting. We've got our colors picked out. So in the next video, we're gonna get started with getting it all put together on the first side of this little guy. It's gonna be really fun and very sweet. I'm looking forward. I think this is actually a sweet little size. So looking forward to finishing this project with you. Thank you so much for supporting me on my Vimeo channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. Have a great week, you guys.